Hi, this is Mark Lee Morrison from the podcast Low Profile. I live in Olympia, Washington with my wife and 2 daughters, and I support Vish Khanna's Creative Control on Patreon because I appreciate his journalistic integrity. Vish talks with a lot of artists I care about, and he never asks any boring questions. I love hearing his interviews, and as a Patreon supporter, I get to hear even more of them. If you enjoy Creative Control too, I implore you to join me as a sustaining contributor.
To make your flexible monthly donation to Creative Control, please visit patreon.com/creativecontrol today.
Jim White and Marisa Anderson are each accomplished musicians who respectively hail from just outside of Melbourne, Australia, and Portland, Oregon. Jim is one of the greatest drummers of his generation, who plays in bands like Dirty Three, The Double, and Sklurus White, among others, and has collaborated with the likes of Bonnie Prince Billy, PJ Harvey, Cat Power, Bill Callahan, Nick Cave, and Jem Cohen, among others. Marisa is a wondrous and inventive guitar player who has worked with the Evolutionary Jazz Band and whose forward-thinking approach to traditional forms has earned her acclaim as one of the most exciting American musicians working today. Together, White and Anderson have created a lovely and stirring new record called The Quickening, which is available via the Thrill Jockey label, and so I connected with them both for a chat about how they're living under the restrictive specter of COVID-19, how they first came to know of each other before working together, improvisation in music and in life, why concert streaming and even concert films are problematic, the rock and roll band AC/DC, future plans, and much more. A part of the Entertainment One Network with the support of listeners like you, who follow and subscribe to this podcast and spread the word about it, and make flexible monthly donations at patreon.com/creativecontrol, and Massey Hall's concert film series, live at masseyhall.com, where you can stream dozens of 30-minute films for free, including performances by past guests like Jennifer Castle, among others, plus in-kind support from Pizza Trokadero, The Bookshelf in Planet Bean Coffee in Guelph, and Grandad's Donuts in Hamilton. This is the 541st episode of Creative Control, featuring the thoughtful and talented Jim White and Marisa Anderson, with your host, me, Vish Khanna. Hi, Marisa. How's it going?
Hi, Vish. It's going.
It's nice to see you over the internet. It's really nice to see you. It's been too long.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
Couple years? I don't know how long it's been. Things are different, and we'll get to that in a moment. But I also want to say hello to Jim.
Hi, Vish. Hi, Marisa.
Hi, Jim.
Nice to see you. So we're connected.
Nice to see you too.
It's really nice to see you, Jim. I feel like I saw you maybe the same time I saw Marisa. Really, I have no idea. Do you remember? Do you remember seeing me, Jim?
No, seeing you in person?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah.
No, it was though. You have a good memory because I think that was. No, never mind. I was going to say it was when I was on tour with Dolores White that I saw you, but it wasn't. It was when I was out with Godspeed.
That's right. No, I saw you play at the Transac, Marisa. After I did see that tour that you're talking about, where it was you and Sklurus White. And that was at the Drake in Toronto. You guys remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Downstairs.
That's right. And I think I saw that. I was at that show. But yeah, Marisa, I think we saw. Remember there was a Transac show in Toronto, that New Zealand club?
I played there a few times, but I can't remember like the different. Oh, yes. I remember now. Yeah.
We did like an interview right after the show in the dressing room, and there were lights, and it felt really professional. Anyway, it's good to see you. So I'm going to, just so people listen.
You're in Edmonton now.
Yes, I'm in Edmonton. I'm not in Guelph. You guys know me as a Guelph person, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You moved.
Yeah, we moved. Our family moved in January, and I feel like us moving caused the world to collapse. Everything has gone wrong since we left Guelph. We were the glue, and Guelph has gone bad. I've heard from people it's not as good. Not because of us personally, but things are kind of falling apart. There's a pandemic. It's awful. So I want to ask each of you where you are in the world and how things are going there, because it's germane. So why don't we start with Marisa? Marisa, where in the world are you?
Where in the world am I? I'm in Portland, Oregon. It's going okay here, I guess. Oregon, we have a really good governor, and also like the Oregonian character tends to be fairly on the one side law-abiding and on the other side no gods, no masters. But here in Portland, it's more the law-abiding.
I feel like we bonded a little bit because you thought, did you not think Guelph was a little Portlandy?
Yeah, maybe for that part of Canada, yeah. Yeah.
We used to call it Guelphlandia, and I think I talked to you about this, and you were like, yeah, that show, Portlandia, you're not the biggest fan of the show, but Guelph had this very rootsy, hippie-ish, righteous, angry and right, correct. I maintain we were correct. Just this attitude, about politicians, about life, and I feel like we had some alignment with Portland there. Does that sound right?
It could be. Okay. It doesn't sound about right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we both
I
have.
don't know Guelph that well, I've only been there to play.
Yeah, so. That's true. You had pizza at my house.
I did have pizza at your house.
It was delicious pizza. Yeah, I missed that pizza so much. Anyway.
Your son, I remember.
You didn't bring it with you?
No, I couldn't bring it. I had pizza sponsorships and all sorts of stuff. I don't know why we moved. It's dumb. Free coffee, free pizza. Why did I leave? Makes no sense. Anyway, things are relatively okay in Portland then. Marisa, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Jim, where are you?
I'm in Longwood Ruffy Road. It's about 100 minutes out of Melbourne. So Victoria, Australia, in the countryside.
All right. How are things going there in the grand scheme of things, given we're in this pandemic?
I was on tour when the show started getting cancelled and everything. We made it nearly through the tour. The last show was cancelled, and then my dad fell over the day I came to visit him, and then the virus was coming on, and my dad's pretty old and got shit going on. So I decided to stay here. So, for better or worse, it's definitely, I live in New York, and I hear that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
If I was there, I'd probably be inside my house, like, pretty intensely.
Are people in your neck of the woods there, Jim? Are they staying inside? Is the social distancing kind of happening, or are people kind of going about their normal?
In New York?
No, in Australia.
Oh, in Australia, yeah. So I'm staying with an 87-year-old and a 74-year-old. So I'm doing the shopping, and they're in here, and we're out. The driveway's like we're a few miles from anywhere. So people are doing social distancing for the most part, but actually, similarly to what Marisa said, it seems Australians are very, very compliant, and the numbers in Australia have indicate that it's been very successful.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, it's high where I am in Alberta, actually, compared to.
Is it?
Yeah, Alberta is like third for highest among the provinces in Canada, and like I do all the. I'm staying with my in-laws. You can see me pointing. I'm pointing to where they are. Way over there, but I'm staying with my with my parents-in-law, and they're older, so I go get some of the groceries. I went today. I wear my mask and I had the gloves, and then you walk around and no one's doing that. Really, not a lot of people are doing that. So
people aren't doing the mask and gloves here.
They are here for sure. The mask everywhere. You can't even go in the grocery store without it. They won't let you in, and if you don't have one, they'll give you one.
That's good, but a lot of states, governors in your country, Marisa, are kind of fighting that, right?
I don't know really what's going on. I can't speak. All the 50 states have their own, everybody's got their own thing, and I think actually the governors are doing a much, much better job in many cases than the feds are.
Right.
The federal government is abysmal.
Yeah, we're all, Jim, would you agree? We're all seeing that, right? We're all seeing America struggling with this.
Yeah. Even in Australia, it's interesting, like the state, there's mostly accord or whatever you call that thing, agreement. But actually the state, for the first time in my lifetime, the states are actually taking the lead on many more things.
Oh.
And contradicting the feds when they want to, no one ever even really thought about federalism much here in the past, but now it's actually like, you know, the federal one has opened up all its schools this week because, you know, for the economy or whatever.
Yeah, parents have to go back to work. That's a weird thing.
But the Victorian government said, no, we're not, you know, and they, you know, they have the right to do that.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to check in, and I've been contacting people and also receiving contact from people. Just how are you? How are things going? You both seem okay, you know, dealing with this the best you can. And I just wanted to make sure you were okay because I care about you both, and this sucks. And we're all being touched by it in different ways. So you're okay is what you're both saying, ostensibly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay, cool.
I haven't picked up a drumstick for 7.5 weeks.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? I've been busy. Like
I think that's some. Right, I don't have a drum. My drums are coming this afternoon. My sister's bringing them.
Oh, nice.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
Nice.
Is that weird for you? Is this the longest you've gone without playing?
I think my whole life.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's got to be weird.
When I was born and stuff.
But that's out of your instrument is so large, so to speak. I mean, if you don't have it, you can't play it. Marisa, have you felt? I assume
There
you
are
have
drumsticks in the corner.
You have drumsticks in the corner. Marisa, I assume you have access to your guitars. Have you felt compelled to play?
Lately more. When at first, so, you know, we've been locked down for 2 months, almost 2 months. And at first I just was really not, I just couldn't. And then the last couple weeks, yeah, I've been playing. It's been kind of nice just corresponding with other people who are, you know, in the same situation where all the work is gone, nobody's on the road. All of a sudden there's a little bit of like people sending files back and forth and doing little collaborations. And it's nice to have assignments. So I've like been, you know, kind of working off little assignments from friends and sending them, and that's gotten me wanting to play again. Yeah.
That's great. I have, as you may guess, I talk to lots of creative people with the show, and by and large, you're the first one I've heard who said, yeah, I'm starting to do stuff while in this state. A lot of people are like, I really have nothing to say. I have nothing I can think of to write. Like, it's not inspiring me to talk about anything in my craft right now. I just feel like the world is frozen. I feel frozen. So
I was feeling that way, and also maybe less frozen than just floating, just like floaty, but
suspended.
Suspended. That's a good word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but something changed. I'm not sure.
For what it's worth, I'm playing more guitar than I've ever played. I don't even know how to play it. I've got so many of them here, and I just I pick them up. I play them all the time. I'm learning how to play songs. I don't care. It's fun. I like it. I mean, I'm trying to see the bright side of the pandemic, and it's you.
I think so too.
Yeah, you think there's a way to see a bright side, a silver lining, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that it's terrible for many people, but there's also I haven't had jet lag for 2 months.
It's giving us time. Like, I'm rehabbing a shoulder that I should have been working on. Like, my shoulder, I have a rotator cuff, and now I'm finally doing the exercises, and I'm like, it's better. Like, I'm not waking up in pain. I got a little
looking
time.
Looking out for my dad, which for a longer period than I probably would have been able to wrangle, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I was not playing because I've been playing because I'm sort of been busy, but also, you know, taking the time to do other things as well.
Yeah. No, it's good. On the one level, it's okay. It's okay. We're getting some time. So I want to ask about your partnership here. Congratulations on the Quickening. It's lovely, and you know, you're two of my favorite players, so this is very exciting for me. I thought I'd get into some background here with both of you. You were before you knew each other, you were kind of known entities, I suppose. You might have known of each other. So I thought I'd start that way and ask how you first came to know of each other as musicians, as being, you know, part of cultural creation, so to speak. And Marisa, I want to start with you. Do you have a recollection of when you first came to know, kind of before you knew him, of Jim?
Well, I knew of the Dirty Three. There was a period of time where I was mostly living in my car, and in the, I don't know, late 90s or something. And I had a cassette player, and someone made me a cassette that was a couple Dirty Three records, and I only had a few cassettes, so that one I listened to a lot. So that was like well before I knew anything about the band. It was just, you know, a cassette that had a name on it. And then I think I saw them play, but I actually didn't like the show.
What was that?
I had to turn my back. It was too theatrical for me.
At the Crystal Ballroom?
Yeah, I was at the Crystal, and I couldn't focus on the music because of.
It's because of Warren. Let's just get this out there. Warren's jumping around. That's what it was, wasn't it?
I just had to look away. I'm gonna point.
With me, wave my arms around.
Oh yeah, it could have
Yeah,
been.
probably not.
There's a lot of movement at a Dirty Three show. Yes, it's true.
Yeah, and it just wasn't how I experienced that music internally. So I turned my back on the show. I stayed, I think, but I just didn't watch it. I listened. But I don't think I knew, I didn't like dig in to know like the different players of the band or something. So I don't think I knew of Jim till like specifically until right around when we played that show together in Portland. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that's what seems right to me.
Was that a Godspeed show or a?
No, it was Xyloris White.
Oh, okay.
In Portland, and then I was on the bill too.
Okay, so that's your first interaction.
That's when we met in person. Yeah.
Is that a little weird where you're like, I've lived with this in a way. I lived with this person's music abstractly since the '90s, and now all of a sudden we're on the same stage. Like, is that strange in any way?
I don't know.
Maybe it's not anything. It's just what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess this is not how my thought process works typically.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Jim, similar question. Do you recall when you first heard of Marisa?
Yeah, we went on the bill.
Just that same show.
I believe so, yeah. I mean, I think we might have got asked if we wanted, if that was a good bill. Anyway, around that event.
We shared a booking agent. We shared a booking agent at that time. So
okay.
I think it was kind of through that connection, right?
Yes, and then so that was the bill, and I remember we met. I think we met. We exchanged a few words. Is that right?
Yeah, I remember that George was traveling without an amp, so I supplied an amp, so I had to come early to so that you could have the amp for the sound check.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. That's why you were there. That's why you were there then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we maybe had like a little more interaction than we would have if I had just kind of shown up for my sound check, played my show, whatever.
Right.
We had that downtime before the show was. Yeah.
And then later on, the agent suggested that we do it together, I think, and George and I thought that was good, and we did that. And that's when I got to hear Marisa more.
Okay. I'm trying to find. It sounds like I'm trying to find the fortuitous beauty in this in this union, and it sounds like it was circumstances. Like you had the same people working with you, and by the way, Jim, how's George doing? I haven't seen George in a while. Obviously, how's he doing?
Yeah, he's good. He's home in Crete.
Okay.
His family, like a lot of them, were in and out of Australia before this virus, and they all got back in time before the borders were shut, and. Yeah, good. They're good.
Okay, everyone's good. I like I say, I'm just checking in. I'm making sure everyone's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of gardening going on everywhere.
Gardening and
the world.
Bread baking, it seems, is what I keep seeing and witnessing even here. So I want to get into the Quickening, and my understanding is that it's an improvised record, and I'm curious about the approach there and whether it was ever going to be anything else. Was this collaboration going to ever take some other shape, maybe something more compositionally based? Were you ever going to do anything beyond improvising? Marisa, do you recall? Were there conversations about any other approach here?
No, that was always the idea, was just to meet up and see what we made. In my memory, there wasn't hardly any discussion. And mostly the goal was to do... It was a very intuitive process. And also with a focus on not doing anything that would be a drag.
So improvisation opened it up to you as being something that probably wouldn't be a drag. The most likely option to not be a drag was trying to improvise. Is that kind of what you're getting at there, Marisa?
Maybe logistically that could be true, because we recorded the whole thing in and out of different travel schedules in a couple of different countries. And I'm having my first experience now actually with sort of like composing, co-composing over the internet or whatever. It's just not something that I have ever done before, and it's not part of my musical vocabulary. And really, I'm doing it now because of the necessity, and I'm enjoying it. But it's never something that I would be like, "Hey, Jim, let's like try and write a record over the internet."
Yeah, and I'm pretty confident that I can say that if we did that, it wouldn't happen.
I agree 100%.
But by the same token, Jim, now, like as Marisa says, the circumstances are different. Would you consider something like that now? Your drums are arriving, so would you consider this as a possibility now, as an option? Because there's not really too many other options. Long distance collaboration, I mean.
I mean, I would, if I had a recording set up, I would consider recording and sending off, or receiving and recording, but I wouldn't. I don't think I'd be going into some, complex. I feel like everything about what Marisa and I have done. I mean, I'm changing the subject back to what you said before, but more. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, if I had I don't have. I'm going to set the jump up outside and play.
Yeah.
Put on my phone.
Right.
I don't think I'm making no records or anything.
So we're
Maybe.
We're using this thing right now, and we're pretty in sync here. The timing seems to make sense. We're able to converse. Is this an option? I've not talked to musicians about using something like this. Well, actually, we have.
I am doing a double. Actually, a few days ago, and and I hadn't played, and people were saying, "You miss playing," and I'm like, "No, it's fine." And then all of a sudden, I just got this. I was like, "Shit!" And I was talking to Emmett Kelly.
Yeah.
I have a band with him called The Double.
Yeah.
And we're going to do the challenge. We're going to try and break the world record of the double. So we have to work out because the double we normally play for around 45 minutes.
Uh-huh.
At one time the clock broke and we went for over an hour. But we're going to try and break the record. And he's in California.
Right.
So actually just before I got on this call, we were trying to work out who's going to tell us how to do it technologically.
Well, what I'm saying, like, this could kind of maybe work for you, like for you and Marisa right now. Like if you, not right now, don't do it now. But if you wanted to, if you wanted to improvise potentially, with headphones on. Is that? I know Marisa, you were like, I don't want to really do this. Like if we can't see each other, and this is new.
I feel like there's something for me in playing music with and for people that involves the presence of those people.
100%.
Not the physical presence. Like I haven't done any online shows or any of that stuff, as I really do miss playing shows a lot. But what I miss is the whole thing. It's not that I miss like playing those particular songs on my guitar with the thought that there's an audience. Like I actually miss the physical presence of the humans, and I think it's the same. Like I don't know that me playing guitar here in my little house and Jim playing drums over there, it just wouldn't. There's no itch to be scratched there.
I haven't been able to sustain my interest in the live streaming concerts that people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try to watch, even if it's like someone I really like, I'm like, I can't. It's not doing it. I don't know. Maybe that's a negative thing to say because it's all a lot of people have right now. But I'm just having. It's weird. Like I can watch a concert documentary. It's fine. There's something about. I don't know. I can't do this right now.
Production values.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
You like the concert documentaries?
I can watch them. I haven't done it in a while, but I used to. Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid and I couldn't see bands because of where I lived, or I've talked to lots of people. Like I live in remote, not me, but I've lived in remote British Columbia. So I only found out about hip hop because my friend had like a DVD and we watched the shit out of it. We just watched that Dr. Dre DVD for hours and that's how we learned about music. So I could get to Toronto and do stuff, but no, I guess I haven't watched do you have a favorite concert film, Jim?
No, I don't really, I find it problematic. I don't know why I've never
problematic.
Huh. I mean, I'm not drawn to them, too much, I find it very different.
I
watched
YouTube wormhole.
Maybe
the same song over and over again, different performances.
That's true. I will watch YouTube. That's true. If it's like I
will watch a song on YouTube. Yeah, I'll find a song. Like I'll watch Mary Margaret O'Hara on that TV show. I'll watch that like every day. I'll be happy to,
I thought of you yesterday, Jim, because Mary and I have been exchanging texts, and they're wild. They're just the longest, wildest texts, and I love them. And I'm hoping she and I will have a chat soon, actually. But Yeah.
She's a lot of fun to communicate with.
She is. I've been thinking about her recently, actually, and you, because when John Prine passed away, Marisa, you may not know this story necessarily, but Bonnie Prince Billy did a show at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre in Toronto. Jim was on drums, and I think it was the last song or the encore, I don't know what it was. They brought Mary Margaret O'Hara on to sing In Spite of Ourselves. And
nice.
it was this gorgeous, I don't mean to disparage it in any way, Jim, because I loved it, but
I loved it.
It was a gorgeous kind of train wreck. Is that fair, Jim? Like, it was kind of off the rails.
I'm going to look for that on YouTube.
It's kind of perfect. Is it on YouTube?
No,
I don't know. I'm going to look.
I don't think it.
I want to see that.
I actually think I Googled it. I did Google it because I wanted to.
It was so great.
Yeah, it was totally great, and I love her. And anyway, yeah, it's yes, there are YouTube wormholes I fall into all the time, and I would agree with you there. Anyway, you made, I think it was Marisa made reference to the fact that the Quickening was recorded in a few different cities. My understanding it was Portland, Oregon, and Mexico City. So I wonder about those circumstances and how they came about. Marisa, can you talk about the Portland recording session and how it came to be?
I mean, I knew Jim was going to be on the West Coast and he had some time. And so I just booked a little time in my friend Jason's room in the Type Foundry.
Was this a feeling out process per se? Is that the first time you tried to play together?
It was the first time we tried to play together, yeah.
Yeah, we talked, we stayed in, after the tour we did together, we stayed in touch a little bit, for just different reasons, talk about something or whatever, right?
Yeah, mostly just text buddies.
So basically, then we just said, okay, well, we talked about it at some point. I actually can't quite remember. But then said, okay, why don't we just come up and we'll just try it out, Why don't I come up there?
I don't remember when it became sort of like turned into from a hypothetical into a plan. It just sort of was a natural thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
Everything about what we've done with this record, culminating this record and after the recording and everything, just all has seemed to me very no stress, very natural.
Yeah.
No fuss.
So you say no.
I think that's partly because how it is, and also partly because that's how we want it to be.
You say no fuss, and I can appreciate why Marisa Anderson recording in Portland, where she lives, is no fuss. The next session was in Mexico City. How did that come about, Jim?
Well, the first one was, I bought a ticket up there. We paid for 2 days in the studio. I think first we had a day in a room in Marisa's house. We played a bit of music for a couple of hours, and then we went in the studio. And it was all based on that there was no expectation, just to see what it was like. And then, okay, it seems like worth pursuing. We both agreed on that, worth doing it more and see what we could get out of it. And so then Marisa spent time in Mexico City. And so, she said, we're talking about where to do it. And she said, what about down there? And I thought, great,
Sorry,
Marisa. Once again, the studios are kind of affordable there.
Oh, okay.
It's out of distraction. So, we didn't want to say we're making a record and we have to have the stress of making a record that's got to be finished. Someone's paying for it or anything like that. Didn't want to do anything like that. Right? Yeah.
The little backstory is that my partner is Mexican and spends the winters in Mexico where she has an apartment.
Okay.
And I also spend as much of the winter as I can there. And it happened that Jim's time off the road, that the time that he had available overlapped with the time that I was going to be in Mexico.
Perfect.
And
okay.
the other factors that Jim was talking about all line up, where it was more affordable, it was nicely off the radar in terms of any kind of stress. Okay. We never said to each other we're making a record. That was never the thing. The thing was let's play music together, and then it made sense to record it. And then to sort out what those recordings would be was something that we didn't have the expectation,
Yeah. So on the Quickening, I have sort of two questions. Are we hearing basically everything you captured? That's one question. And the second is, are we also hearing any of the earliest explorations? Did they make it here? I'm curious about that in particular, because I wonder what it was, if you can identify what that or those things are, what it is maybe about them that made you both think, oh, we're on to something. Aha. Jim, I'm going to go to you on this. Can you unpack the few questions I had in there?
Yeah, so we had, I think, 2 songs that made it from that session. We probably came out. Okay, so the answer to the first question is no, you're not hearing everything at all.
Okay.
You're hearing what we decided you to hear. And
I feel like I've been grounded all of a sudden. You made a decision that Vish will only get to hear certain things. And
that's right.
The rest is prohibited. I have to earn it through allowance or something.
No.
It's not worth hearing.
It's not worth hearing. Okay.
You won't be hearing it. You do it.
Okay, I'm not being punished. I'm being rewarded. I see. Okay.
You don't want to. Yeah. And isn't that the part that makes it from what was the other choice we were going to do? Write songs together. That would be the decision of what we gave you.
So
that would be the process.
So we're not hearing everything, but
what we're not doing is we're not finding the part that we like and then playing it again and again. You're hearing it when it happened. We're getting all the shit out of the way that we don't want you to hear and we don't think you want to hear.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's the song. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm not sure that I understand improvisation or not. We did it, and the process that made it into a song or a piece of music was a decision of what we didn't give you and what we did give you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there much?
And we gave it a name as well.
Was there much editing? Sorry, in the versions we're hearing, has stuff been kind of cut up to try to make it more cohesive, or are we hearing live takes, Jim?
Yeah, the stuff is taken away from it, but it's not actually cut up, is it? Is it?
No,
It's more like
one song that I cut I made a little rough mix. There's one song that has a couple seconds cut out of it where we got off time.
Right.
In a way that affected the song badly. So that was the one editing thing I did. And then there's one song that was composed. Like it was a song that I had and I came in and we did it.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 spots.
Can you identify the composed song, Marisa?
18-1.
18-1 is a composed song of your own.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I brought it in and then Jim, we co-composed it at that point.
Okay. So the
I
other...
didn't make the drum part,
Right, exactly. So the other chunk of...
So the other stuff is it's more like,
Like find the beginning of the thought and find the end of the thought and trim what comes before the beginning and what comes after the end.
It's like the core of it. You took away the intro and the outro and we were just hearing the core of something.
Just the place where whatever feels like the song is expressed with an arc.
I see.
Feels like an arc.
Right.
Part of that is like, you're not trying to get it. You're going, okay, we're going to turn the tape on and we're going to play the perfect, we're going to turn the files on and we're going to play the perfect piece of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're just playing, and then it's a way of taking expectation out in a way, it's sort of diffusing it so that you can just get on with and do something.
Yeah.
And then you find it. And, now you can't remember like what happened in that, like how did it get like that or whatever, who knows? It happened like that because of the decision where it was like paired away, but
okay.
That makes sense.
It does make sense.
Just to answer your other question is like, what did the original, because I actually think, I like the pieces from Mexico much better personally. Mm-hmm. They actually feel more developed in a way.
Mm-hmm. And chronologically, Mexico is the second session, so to speak?
Yeah, the second of 2.
Right.
Yeah. And they're separated by a few months. I don't remember. Maybe one was in October and the other was in January.
There's a school of thought that a band or an artist making their second record is more sure-footed and confident than they were making the first. So many second records can be a lot better than the first. I wonder if that applies. If that's true, I wonder if that applies here. Like you had your sort of feeling out process a little bit, didn't fuss about it, and then the second session, those whatever butterflies there might be, they're gone. Like you knew what you were kind of going to do, if that makes any sense.
Well, all of the recording that we did is also all of the playing that we've done. So the first session is the first time that we've ever got in a room to play music together. So I think there's total validity in what you said, but I think in this case, it's just about us becoming more comfortable with our shared musical language over more hours of playing.
Yeah. And actually the first songs actually have something really nice about them for that, because of what they are.
Mm-hmm.
The first song we played together, and it has a different sound partly because of the room, but partly because of that as well,
Yeah,
and a different space.
there are
The reason
different.
why, by the way, the reason why the first records sound harder, or maybe, isn't it because bands? You're talking about a band, like it's a band, and you've been working on these songs for years before you get a chance to go in the recording studio. So you have all these expectations of what you want that song to become like in the studio. So, and then later on, by the third album, you probably got rid of all the stuff you've been carrying around, especially in an early band and first band, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I also have found in my own experience the second batch of songs is always stronger than the first, and I don't know what that means. It's just my own experience. I'm like, yeah, these were better. In my case, almost none of them, the second batch, were ever recorded, which I always found frustrating. But I always found it interesting. I'm like, yeah, these feel like much better than that first. We played those first 12 songs forever, and then the next batch just felt fresh and better, and like we were better. That chemistry, I guess I'm getting at the chemistry. When a band makes their first record, maybe they haven't done that much stuff together, then they tour and they become chemically connected. And maybe that happened a little bit through your friendship, through this relationship you've had, through your travels together. I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know. I'm making it up.
There's so many factors, and every
Yeah.
situation is different.
When did we play our first show? After Mexico or before?
After Mexico, when we went and played in that gallery in Portland.
Mm.
So that was in February, I want to say, of 2019.
It's always a fascinating thing when an improvised duo records something, then they play their first show. How close to the recording is that?
There's no intention of that.
Yeah, we didn't try to do that.
Didn't
Zero
even
intent.
do it. Just improvise.
Oh.
Your shows are improvised too. New.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hear that show if you want. It's online. You go to the Lumber Room Gallery in Portland, Oregon, and blip and bloop around. You'll find that show.
Okay.
It's there.
Okay. So
You
how
can hear-
this process began in 2018? No, when did you guys start doing this?
2018 was the Type Foundry sessions, I think.
Right, so 2019 was it Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's been a couple of years.
Then we mixed it.
this summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Summer 2019.
Okay.
I did another show. I did our second show.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's all we've gotten to do.
Yeah. Everything went to hell, so to speak. But
Yeah, we had would have our shows have happened yet, or they're coming up soon?
I think like the 13th or something.
All right, so the record comes out next
Next
week, and the show's the tour starts in a few
We're
days.
touring next week.
just to be
Right, I'm
clear,
in China right now.
yeah, just to be clear, we are speaking at a time where restrictions are being loosened, and some governors in America are like, I think it's Missouri, is like there can be concerts. You guys had a tour planned. You had plans that have been postponed. Have you heard anything as working musicians that, like, I know some artists are rescheduling dates in the fall to the fall. Summer dates are now October, which I still personally, from all the epidemiology stuff I read, seems very optimistic and probably isn't going to happen either. But you guys are your frontline musicians, I'll say. Marisa, have you heard from someone who said those dates we had for you in May, we think they can happen in X?
Yeah, there's a show that I was on that was canceled in March that is now rescheduled for February. Who knows? And another set of shows that I was going to do with Tara Jane O'Neill that has been rescheduled to October, late October. And I think rescheduling is aspirational. I think it's just a way of people having something on the calendar in case the calendar comes back, you know?
Were all of those things you just mentioned in 2021, or was that October this year?
No, this year, 2020.
Oh, wow. Okay. Huh.
I mean, I saw, I'm on the next mailing list, and I think they reschedule shows for like in a few months' time or whatever in America.
Yeah,
But
but
I think they're just doing that to hold the spot, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird.
Too.
I personally, and in Victoria, in Australia, some of the states have now had new cases for days on end.
Mm.
Like in South Australia, like a week on end, but not. And some states are allowing more people to gather, like 2 people to gather or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too.
But there's not been any talk of any show with an audience in the room. There's a talk. I think some venues is having shows with no one in the room or something, streaming it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, there's no talk. Like I would imagine it was going to open up somewhere like here much quicker than anywhere else, and they still haven't even mentioned it.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious about that. You mentioned the word. You said something about quicker. Album's called The Quickening. How's that for a segue? Marisa, can you talk about the significance of the album title, The Quickening?
Well, we were having a conversation, Jim and I, about just trying to name the songs, because that's just so hard to do on improvised instrumental music. And so we were just throwing things, in and out of the mix. And that word came up, and I mentioned that the meaning of it that I know and I'm attached to is like the first stirring in the womb of the child or the baby. And I think, Jim, you were like, yeah, that's the name of it. Like, it comes from that, just like these first movements,
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that word, and yeah, when I loved it, when I thought it was great.
It makes sense for a first expression, obviously. There are other connotations for it. Marisa, did you look into it, or is that just that was the thing you understood, right?
That's what I knew the word to mean. Also, I've heard it used to mean the first greening on a tree after winter.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And I've heard that there's other since because now I have a thing with that name.
Sorry.
I've heard like there's some video game thing.
There's a movie series called The Highlander.
Okay, that's what someone said.
There's when someone has their head chopped off.
That's what someone told me. Yeah.
Their life begins anew, or something happens to their soul. I'm not a Highlander person. And anyway, that's also called the Quickening. Jim, have you seen The Highlander?
No.
Okay, just making sure, because that's a thing as well. But I think
there's zero reference to that. I think for either of us.
You might get something from the Highlander people who are like, what? You might get some attention. You're like, why are all these orders coming in from this Highlander convention for this old sci-fi series? Okay, so yeah, as a first expression, that's why it appealed to you. Like it's something to do with life affirmation, or the beginnings of a band, I guess.
I won't think I was thinking about the beginnings of a band, but just that I just think it's a beautiful concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fair. Now you have both engaged in prepared and improvisational songwriting in the past, and in performance in the past. And Jim, at some point in our conversation, you said, I don't really understand what improvisation means, but it does appeal to you. And I'm just wondering why it appeals to you as a player. Jim, can you start? What is it about improvisation that appeals to you?
I got asked to do the shows with Peter Brotzman. I would have done them by now if the virus didn't happen. And I was like, that's weird to do improvisation show. Yeah, he's an improviser where I've never met him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird. That seems to me like is it going to be any good? What are we going to go and play in front of people and we don't know what's going to happen at all?
Yeah.
So I don't, and I eventually did, after a couple of years of umming and ahhing, I agreed because, I did want to try and experience it, and I talked to people that knew his process or whatever. But like Marisa and I going into a studio or a room and I know we're just improvising, but, we're trying to make something, I think we're trying to make something up, we are making something up. And then, we pare it down, find the things. So I'm not sure do you know what I mean? Can you ask me the question of what the other thing is? It's not improvisation.
Exactly.
What's it like when I don't improvise? Like, Jim, can you go and play this beat that we've written down on the sheet music? And then I'll try and do that. I don't mind doing that, and then what will make it good or bad will be if I can make it my own. Even that beat that's written down, every note is in the right spot. And I'm not, a great reader.
Yeah,
I can work it out, I can do it.
Yeah.
So I'll play it and I'll play it. I can devise different strategies in my brain, like of how to play it. Like you might say something to me and I can take what I want from it or not want from it.
Right.
I can say something to myself. I can trick myself, a lot of negotiations going on.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I can play it like, maybe I can play it like, okay, this is really dumb maybe, but AC/DC, everyone knows they're not an improvisational band, right? But yeah, I bet they could play something different if they wanted to. Like they play it really well every night for the room they're in, what's going on. Okay, the notes are all in the same spot.
How their bodies feel.
How their bodies feels, everything. So
the weird
another way of looking at it would be like when Marisa and I, or like say Will. I remember when we were on tour with Will. Will liked he liked to have everyone do the same thing. I think he kind of liked the day to be everyone to stick in,
having the same experiences throughout the day.
I feel I'm not exactly. I don't want to speak for him, but I feel like he thought that he might have thought that he'd like to see that happen with the show. You know what I mean? After that day.
Yeah, because
Let me ask you a question, Vish. Are we improvising this conversation?
Well, this is the question as well. Like, yes, we are. First of all, although most of what I say is planned. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm improvising. You're improvising. That's what conversations are.
It is really very similar.
It is. However, I just want to go back to something with Jim, because Jim has oscillated in these modes. I think you have too, Marisa. You've made records where you're playing traditional songs and making them your own. Jim has worked with people to compose. But I'm thinking about, you mentioned AC/DC there, Jim, and I love AC/DC. And I know that every one of their songs pretty much probably started as an improvisation. And so there's a weird thing there, Jim, where your world is, like when I write songs with people, we get in a room and we jam it out. Like we're figuring it out. We're improvising, and then we decide we're going to kind of do that again. We're going to repeat it somehow, and now it's a song. So there's a weird relationship.
I'm not saying that someone can't bring a series of chords and a melody, and that song, and that song is written. I'm not saying against that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying my involvement. I'm just, is that where you were going with that?
I think so. Yeah, and like Marisa was just talking about how, depending on how AC/DC, I don't know why we're still talking about AC/DC, but that's fine with me. Depending how AC/DC are feeling on any given night, their songs are going to be different. Like if they don't feel well, or if they feel great, like they might play different, and it's human. It's
I mean, let's say with AC, I don't know where I'm going with this conversation, but like as we all know from reading our ATC books, they take the songs to their brother, to their
Malcolm and Angus. Yeah. Oh no, the other brother.
They take them to their older brother.
Yeah, that's right.
And his partner, and then they strip them down,
right?
And make them work. Get rid of anything that's not going to make the groove and the song work.
That's right.
At least they did in the first albums that we all loved.
That's right.
Most.
The ones with Bond. Yeah, that's right.
And then they go back and and then they play them with that, maximizing the effect of those structures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not showing. It's what I'm saying.
It's amazing to me that Marisa brought up our conversation, because I think that's true. I'm asking you questions to learn about you guys, and we don't know what we're going to say. And I think of improvisation as the ultimate learning tool. Like I feel like when you're improvising with someone, you're learning about them a little bit. And Marisa, would you agree with that? Like, is improvisation, in your experience, like a particularly great way to learn about people?
Yeah, I would say that much like conversation, you share and you learn. It's a give and take, and the more that you do it, the more you come to understand certain, intangible qualities. And I feel like with Jim, I'm still like such in the beginning of that process, like we've done this one record and played 2 shows, and there's way more so left unsaid than there is said at this point. But I'm thinking of other long-term improvisation-based musical relationships I've had, and over years, you really do get to know someone deeply, and you also get to know things about yourself in their presence that you might not otherwise come to.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel like you're talking about music right now. You're talking about conversation. And I think that's what I'm kind of getting at. Like, this is what you're doing together is a form of communication. It doesn't even sound like you knew each other that long or super well. You had these, as we said, circumstantial meetings and experiences, and then you decided to play together, and now we're here, and you've made this beautiful record together. So it's a nice thing. Jim, you would agree. This is a nice thing. Yeah.
We had the intuition that to decide to do that, intuition combined with intention. And, we also, I felt like unspokenly, we were very much on the same wavelength of, of not trying to determine it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of like making it, would you say, Marisa?
Yeah, I feel like there was a real spirit of curiosity, and that was maybe the why we even agreed to do it, was to be like, oh, this seems like a good idea. I'm curious, and then everything kind of springs from that.
Yeah, that you're talking about your union here, but to me again, that's another way of describing improvisation. Like if you learn a prepared song on your instrument, you're kind of putting rules on that instrument. Like the song goes like this, and so these are the rules to play this song, the chords, the notes, whatever. But with improvisation, you can kind of learn more about your instrument too. You can kind of explore it, right? Is that fair to say, Marisa?
Sure. Yeah.
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 I mean, you don't want to play with the same person as yourself, right?
Yeah.
But you also want to have enough shit. But you also, it's maximizing the chances that something good can come out of it. I mean, I think a lot, and a lot of what we decided without deciding was, I mean, I would think like as a musician, like what you get better at, or what I feel like I hope I get better at. I don't think I'm getting better technically, or maybe I am. I have no idea, whatever. But better at hitting a moment more often. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And quicker.
Cut to the core of the thing in a way that feels, it's the same as in conversation, like not beating around the bush or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nice. That was a nice AC/DC reference all of a sudden. That was good.
I've been waiting for a moment to drop it.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be not the same as when you're playing by yourself,
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, Jim, you're also in a position where I think it's fair to say people approach you about playing. They know you're a great drummer, and they have a nice feeling about you, so it's like your instrument is this conversation starter in itself, isn't it? Like you get asked to do things with people and meet people and travel the world because of your stinking drum kit. Really, that's what it is, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. I think it's great. I think everything's great.
Yeah, I get to talk to people.
Absolutely.
What about that thing? What about the thing I said, Marisa, the other day about I read that article about when you get up, they did it. Like you want to get up and stand up, and they had the brain
already knows.
The electrodes. The brain told the leg to get up before the brain told you to think that you wanted to get up.
Yeah.
You know about that?
I don't know about that. I'm listening to you, and I can see it how that works, but I don't know.
Right. So the thought is like later,
Right.
So that might be, that's, I'm trying to use that as an angle about
improvisation.
Maybe like, don't, and, getting your brain in the right spot,
Yeah.
You're thinking in the right spot to not get in the way. It's a to and fro. Yeah.
You're learning about, like Marisa was saying too, you learn about yourself as much as you're learning about other people. Like you learn about your relationship with music and your craft on some level, if you will, but you learn about yourself just by playing with people. Yeah.
But also your brain, like, because there's beer in the fridge, so you knew that. Your body knew that. If your brain didn't know why you were getting up to get a beer, but your body knew,
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm following this analogy. It makes sense to me. Yeah.
Anyway.
I want to ask you both about what's next. I know we've obviously contextualized the fact that no one knows what's next. But do you have plans either together or individually, even things that, you're waiting on to try and do? Marisa, is there stuff coming up? Both with your work with Jim and elsewhere that you can talk about?
I mean, there's some stuff, but I don't want to get into the details of it. That feels premature.
Okay.
And honestly, like everything is so up in the air right now with all of it. Like, I don't even know if, I'll play a show this whole year,
I find I'm making plans to keep my spirits up. Making plans to have conversations like this. I'm just making and doing things constantly and feel very busy, and I don't have as I'm trying to read all the stuff so I stay informed, but I'm also not trying to get mired in the darkness of it, so I'm just doing things constantly. You said you only recently picked up a guitar. Did that yield ideas? Did that make you feel like, oh, I should maybe pursue this?
I'm not sure yet.
The
activity is nice. It's comforting.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing it. It's it's something I've done my whole life. So I'm not, I'm not picking up a guitar with a whole ton of intention
Yeah.
to anything else than like, oh, see if it feels good. If it feels good, keep doing it. If it doesn't, put it down.
Right. Okay. So other than that, you're waiting this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot of choice on that.
Yeah. Okay. Jim, same question. Obviously, you've described your circumstance. You're taking care of your family. You're in Australia. You haven't had drums for 7 weeks at least. Any other things to look forward to or plans to make at this point? Or is it, as Marisa says?
I mean, like, for example, to do with this record, like, Marisa and I were going to play, we booked a few shows and we were going to go out there and learn how to do a show about what we do,
Yeah.
like a show. We weren't going to play the record. We were going to like play and we had a good start we did 2 shows on 2 individual occasions, one when I went out to play in the art gallery in Portland, and one when we were mixing, we went to the place in Chicago and played it because we were there. So we were going to do that, and I mean, I hope we do that when when we can,
Okay.
It sounds fun to me, like, work out how, like, what is it like when we play a bunch of shows in a row,
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
I thought I saw, was Warren Ellis tweeting about a Dirty 3 session or activity? Were you guys going to do something, Jim?
Yeah, when we played last year, we played a couple of shows in Australia, 3 shows, and did some recording. So
Okay.
yeah, we have to finish that.
Okay, so that's not done. And are you all in Australia right now?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you're kind of on your own out there in terms of people you normally collaborate with, Jim.
Well, Mick's down in Melbourne.
Oh, okay.
The guitarist from
Yeah.
D3.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I've got some bits and pieces going around, but yeah, everything's just kind of right now.
Obviously. I guess it's obvious,
No.
but I have to ask. Sometimes you guys were already talking about how doing some computer playing or something. I don't know. Just
yeah.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask.
The double. We're going to do the double.
There's though.
Okay.
I can announce the double
When is the double thing happening?
as soon as we work out how to do it.
Okay. All right.
And the drums get here tomorrow.
Right, exactly. Okay. All right,
Probably
good.
next week.
So people can learn more about the Quickening at thrilljockey.com, I assume, right?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's on my Bandcamp page. There's a place to find out about it.
Okay. It's on your the Marisa Anderson Bandcamp. Okay.
Yeah.
Anywhere else, Jim? Do you want to send people to anything, any destinations that you have online, so to speak?
We've got Clueless White stuff, .com.
Right.
We haven't got this record's up there. No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Oh, by the way, Sclerus White.
I'd like to send it to
Any activity with you and George?
a lot of cancelled shows and activities. And
That's a kind of activity, I suppose.
and then no.
Okay. All right. Well, it's sad. This part is.
We put a show up, a live show for sale on our Bandcamp. Yeah, it's Lewis White Bandcamp.
Okay.
That's something we planned to do for a long time, but we hadn't had time to go through the shows, so we've taken advantage of that and put that up there.
What's the era of the show? Where was the show?
That show was exactly a year ago.
Okay. And where?
Babylon in LA.
Oh, okay.
We're taking some time to go through some shows. And
As you know, I really like Sclerus White. I think it's fantastic. I wish more people liked it and talked about it. I think it's the best.
yeah,
I just wanted to say that.
thanks.
I miss it. Okay. If there's a song from the Quickening that we can go out on, I wonder if we can democratically, the 3 of us decide. I want no part in it. I want you 2 to pick.
Let's vote. Let's all vote. The 3 of us.
Well,
I vote
guess-
the Lucky.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
Okay. So,
Jim suggests the Lucky.
oh, did you already suggest the Lucky? Oh, I'm sorry. I missed
Yeah,
that.
we already decided.
Why is that? Why is it the Lucky? I missed that. Sorry.
Oh, I really like it. I like the sound. It's my current favorite.
It's your current favorite. Okay. And what session is that one from?
Mexico.
This is the second one. The one you think everything was coming together. Okay. Marisa, do you want to say anything more about the Lucky?
I don't think so. It's the one with the massive hooks.
It's got hooks. Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. It's the single.
Ah,
It's the heat-seeking, chart-topping single. Okay. From their new album, The Quickening, this is Jim White and Marisa Anderson with The Lucky, which is wonderful, and the album's out on Thrill Jockey. Marisa, Jim, thank you so much for joining me from Portland and from Australia. It means a lot, and I wish you the best of luck with everything going forward.
Thanks, Mitch.
Very special thanks to Jim White and Marisa Anderson for returning to this show together for the first time on the program for the 541st episode of Creative Control, which is part of the Entertainment One podcast network and is available on all Apple and Google platforms and other things too. If you can't find an episode that you're looking for, or if you wish to learn more about me and sign up for my semi-regularly scheduled newsletter, please visit my website, vishkhanna.com. You can like Creative Control on Facebook, follow the show on Twitter at VishCreative, or follow me directly at Vishkana. Also, please visit patreon.com/creativecontrol to make a flexible monthly donation to keep this podcast going. Again, there's a $6 and higher tier now for exclusive audio content. So again, visit patreon.com/creativecontrol to learn more about that. Thanks again to live@masseyhall.com, where you can watch beautifully captured concerts by great Canadian artists playing live at Massey Hall. It's right in the name. Also, thanks to Pizza Trokadero, The Bookshelf, Planet Bean Coffee, and Grandad's Donuts for their in-kind support for this show. Thanks as always to my friend and texting buddy Jim Guthrie for letting me use some music on the show. You can learn more about Jim and his work at jimguthrie.org. And finally, thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode and for following the show however you do, subscribing to it, telling your friends about the show, writing about the show for your newspaper or magazine. That is helpful. If you want to talk to me about the show, send me an email, drop me a line. Happy to tell you more about how and why I make the show. I don't even know why I make the show sometimes, but I'll try to fumble about for an answer. Anyway, it means a lot, so thank you. And yeah, I will talk to you very soon. Bye for now.